a unique philosophy production.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire.
You're listening to The Midnight Drive-In, a show about the films you have never heard of, but must see.
So spectacular, you won't believe your eyes.
Here are your hosts, the only caretaker of the Overlook Hotel, Garrick Lane. The guy who plays the Hound in Game of Thrones, Lee Bridges. He played Tyler Durden's twin in the straight-to-video movie Fight Club, Havana Nights. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Doug Wall to the show. And then there's me. But my resume is much more impressive than any of these other goons, so I'll just introduce myself as the great Mark Rose. For another hour of your life you'll never get back. This is The Midnight Drive-In.
Welcome to the Midnight Drive-In.
Is that you on Quaaludes?
I just watched Time Crimes, and my brain is mush.
To be fair, it wasn't great to begin with.
Welcome to the show, guys. How are we doing today? How's you guys' week been?
Doing great.
Yeah? Anything exciting happen?
Nope.
All right, well, I'm excited because we just watched a really cool movie, Spanish movie, Time Crimes. It was fantastic from 2007. We'll get into that, obviously, but it was very cool for modern moviegoers, something like Inception, where you're pretty much halfway through the movie going, dude, what is going on and how's this happening?
Yeah.
It was really good. It was very, very clever, very small, low budget, big concept kind of film. We'll get into it, but I'm anxious to hear. You watched Get Out.
I did.
All right.
I did. Watched it last night, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And like this movie, something I like about Get Out, the same thing I like about this movie, Time Crimes. They're both like feature-length episodes of The Twilight Zone. And I love movies like that. I could watch movies like that all day. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done.
You gotta turn your mic.
Sorry, can I turn my mic
For
around?
God's sakes, man.
Sorry.
Come on, technician. I wondered you were alone. Now talk.
Okay.
Yes. Much better.
All right. Yeah. What? Should I start again? No, just keep going. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's do it again because it'll be all off.
Okay.
All right. So I'm anxious to hear you watched Get Out.
I did watch Get Out last night. Watch it right before bed.
It's like Time Crimes.
Exactly.
All right. So we're gonna just keep doing this loop of.
Yeah.
So you watched Get Out.
I did,
Right.
and I really enjoyed it. I did. Similar to the movie we just watched, Time Crimes, is like a feature-length episode of The Twilight Zone, which is one. Those are they're sort of like science fiction slash. I guess they horrific science fiction is and it would be a way to put it because I really enjoyed Get Out. I mean, a lot of stuff you kind of see coming because but also I've also seen a year's worth of advertisements and trailers for it and people talking about it, so I kind of knew what I was in store for. I thought it was really well done, especially for a first. I mean, it's the first movie Jordan Peele ever directed.
Okay. Does it win the best screenplay?
Well, see, I've been thinking about that because it's something actually you and I were talking about earlier today about great screenplays, and I think there's I think it could definitely be nominated but I think genre screenplays and dramatic screenplays are two completely different animals. Because dramatic movies, you start with the characters and you build outward, whereas I think genre movies you start with the concept and you build inward. Well, the look is very important. The costumes are in some ways much more important than dramatic movies. Like like a movie like Room that Brie Larson won her Oscar for, where she's just kidnapped in a room. Literally, the costumes don't matter. But in a movie like Get Out, with the night helmet and the sort of costume of the, one of the heavies, that is obviously very well detailed, very picked out for specific reasons. And everything in the bad guy's house, everything in the evil white people's house, like, the pictures of the grandfather, everything, it ties into the script. So everything sort of, with genre movies, I think the script isn't everything. When we were talking about great scripts, earlier, a movie I didn't mention was The Godfather. Like in The Godfather, every time someone is killed, there's oranges. Like when Vito's killed at the fruit market, he knocks over a cart of oranges. When they're talking to the movie producer at the beginning, there's a bowl of oranges in the center of the table, Robert Duvall. And I don't know if that was in the script or just something Coppola added. But those things, even if it wasn't the script, like the final draft of the script is the final edit of the movie. So, like, I think with a genre movie, that's in some ways the aesthetics of it and the mechanics of the screen is more important than like something like The Social Network, which is all about the dialogue. So, like, I don't really know, is it fair to compare a horror film to a greatly written dramatic movie? Like, it has to be as good. The dialogue has to be as good as the dramatic movie.
I agree.
But the plot isn't as good as a horror film or a gangster movie. In a drama, the plot is secondary in a drama. And in some ways non-existent. Like the movie Robert Altman's MASH movie, the TV show is based on, is plotless. It's really just a bunch of scenes that are tied together. So in a way, I'll say yes. I think it was.
Okay. Well, it's funny because I said absolutely not, and I'll stand to that.
Right.
That may be my snobbish opinion of it, but I did want to back up my argument by watching as many of the films that it went up against as possible.
Okay.
Because last week my only argument was that I thought that Three Billboards was better written. I did watch Lady Bird.
Okay,
it's fantastic.
Okay,
oh my gosh, it's fantastic. It's a completely different beast though. And Shape of Water, great. The direction, the art direction, everything's great. The script is great.
Right.
But it's two totally different movies.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't
so
really think...
it's tough. It's tough. I would say, if it was me, I would say that no, it's not Oscar worthy. It's great, but maybe the competition that it was up against was, and maybe it just got lucky this year that the stuff that it was up against.
Well, so we're talking about, like, people talk about Marissa Tomei. A lot of people think that was just a fluke that happened. That it had been another year with like more stronger dramatic parts, she wouldn't have won.
Great. Well,
but she's also great in the movie, so I mean,
and that might be true.
That might be true. But you can say that with anything.
It's all timing. It's timing. It's all timing.
Right, and also sometimes it isn't timing because I remember reading an interview with Spielberg, and he was saying in '98 they told him he had to campaign for Saving Private Ryan, and he's like, I've never done that before. And they're like, if you don't, you're going to lose to Shakespeare in Love because Weinstein Brothers were putting so much money into their advertisements. And it's going to win Best Picture.
Putting a lot of money into other stuff, too.
Right, exactly. But, and he was like, it's going to win Best Picture. And what won Best Picture in 1998? Fucking Shakespeare in Love. A movie no one has watched since 1999.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
It is. That movie is forgotten.
It stole the film.
It did.
Now he did win.
Did that have to do with he won Best Director.
Yes.
But he did not win Best Picture.
It should have won Best Picture.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've watched Saving Private Ryan I don't know how many times. Like,
Yeah, they basically said you've got to go out,
and he refused to do it. Which he said now in 2008, he said I would definitely campaign.
Oh yeah,
but that's hindsight though. So like I don't.
And what were the films? And we get off subject, which is fine. But sometimes about research. Let's think about the year Titanic won everything.
Right.
What were some of the movies the great movies that
I think the movie that should
no chance.
Right. I think the movie that should have won that year is L.A. Confidential.
Yes,
that's me.
Yes, L.A. Confidential.
That's to me. That's the best movie that year.
It was Kurt Hansen.
And,
that film was
that's
great.
Kurt Hansen's masterpiece.
Same year.
It was Titanic, As Good as It Gets, The Full Monty, Good Will Hunting, and L.A. Confidential.
Well, what's amazing is they actually did stretch that stuff out because As Good as It Gets, Jack Nicholson won the Best Actor for that.
Yep.
And then L.A. Confidential, Kim Basinger won.
Best Supporting Actress, Helen Hunt won Best Actress.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
And then Good Will Hunting,
Best
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won Best Script.
Best Script, yeah.
So they did, but then I guess Titanic.
Every technical.
That's right.
Titanic took every technical.
Now, did James Cameron? That was the year he said, "I'm the king of the world."
Right.
He won director.
Yeah, he won Best Director. Yeah.
And it won Best Picture.
Yep.
It won everything.
Pretty
everything but the acting.
Right.
Well,
exactly. But to me, like the best movie of 1997 is L.A. Confidential.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, hands down. It's it
is. It was fantastic.
It really is. I mean, of course, I'm a huge I like the novels. I like James Elroy's book. I mean, so I guess I'm sort of biased, but I mean, it's just I watch Good Will Hunting and As Good as It Gets maybe every 3 years I'll catch it on TV. They're both really good movies. The Full Monty I've never seen, and I've never watched all of Titanic.
You have never watched all of Titanic?
There was when that movie came out, that was the year I graduated high school. That was the theme of my prom, was Titanic. Because there's nothing more romantic than 1,500 dirty Irish people freezing to death in the Northern Atlantic. But anyway, people loved it. I think I was working at a grocery store that year, and there was a girl who wanted to go see it, and I somehow talked her into going and see The Replacement Killers with Chow Yun-Fat. And believe it or not, that was the only date we ever went on. Because I'm fucking smooth. Is the reason. I've seen like bits of it on HBO when it was in heavy rotation.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that film, and I'm guilty. I probably saw that. I was in Los Angeles, and we'd go to the Bruin down in Westwood, and it's like the biggest screen in Los Angeles, and the new THX sound, and I must have given James Cameron at least $90,
right?
$10 movie ticket.
Yeah, that's in $1997.
Yeah, I enjoyed that film. I enjoyed it a lot, and not for the acting,
right?
And not for the. It's funny because I think one night we had back in the day when it came out on VHS, we did a drinking game where you had to drink every time Rose or Jack was said.
Right.
And I was hammered.
And it was a double tape VHS.
Yes, a double tape. That's a 3-hour movie. And every time Kate Winslet went, Jack, or Leonardo DiCaprio said, Rose.
Yeah.
You had to drink.
Yeah.
Like Roxanne.
Right.
The police.
Yeah.
And, man, I was hammered.
Right.
Hammered. So, yes, the acting wasn't good. But 1997... That was a technical masterpiece.
Right.
I mean, it was, and what was amazing was how much it went over budget.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this film is going to."
They thought it was going to be a bigger flop than Waterworld.
Oh yeah.
They thought
it was it. That was it, and it turned into the most amazing thing ever. And
it was the biggest movie ever until Avatar.
It was.
So
it was. And it holds up. Visually, I mean, it's not as sharp as what's made today. Of course not. I mean,
but a lot of that has to do, I think, with the model, like that.
Right.
The giant ship that's split in half. I've seen the making of stuff of that. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, they did and how they did it.
Right.
I mean, but could you imagine him doing that now?
Right.
Like, would it have? He probably wouldn't have done anything different.
No.
That's what I'm thinking. Like that's one of those films.
It would probably be more. There'd probably be less model work. That'd be the only difference. Like,
Yeah,
you'd probably do more.
They would have added
stuff.
more CGI because they could have.
Right.
So, well, we got way off course there, but I guess the point is that Get Out may have be a little bit more balanced than I had.
And also, the Oscar votes are kind of arbitrary. I don't think they're always for the movie.
Like you said.
Yeah.
I didn't see Get Out, but, why not? Click.
Yeah.
Click, and be done with it. You watch any other movies?
Let me see. That was the only movie I hadn't seen I watched. Yeah.
Well, I just watched Lady Bird. I watched The Town again because I
love The Town.
Because I love
so
The Town.
much.
Like,
it's good.
I hate that Ben Affleck has, with the exception of Argo and The Town, has completely destroyed his career.
Right. He'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. But there's
he'll Scrooge McDuck duck into his big pile of Batman money. He'll be fine.
What was the last?
Live by Night.
Which I don't know anybody who saw
By
it.
Night.
I watched it.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
I might have rented it and hated it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. So if I did, it was
It looked like a
free.
movie he should have directed but not starred in.
Yes, for a guy who did for a guy who did Good Will Hunting, and
Gone Baby Gone.
Gone Baby Gone, yes, Gone Baby Gone, and then followed that up with The Town, and then followed The Town up with Argo.
Yeah, and I think The Town is his masterpiece.
Oh, absolutely.
By far, yeah.
By far. With even though Argo won Best Picture and everything.
Right.
The Town was it's easily top 20 of all time for me.
Yeah.
And I could watch it anytime. And in fact, well, we're not on video, but the jacket that I'm wearing is actually the same jacket that he has in the film. And
Right.
I bought it.
Right.
Because of that film.
Yeah.
And I was like, he shows up at that guy's house, and I'm like, that's a cool ass jacket.
Dude, my favorite bit of that movie is when he comes into Jeremy Renner's house. He's like, we're going somewhere. We're going to hurt some people. And you can't ever ask me why. And he's like, who's driving?
Yeah. Which car are we taking?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah, as great as he is, Jeremy Renner owns that movie.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
really does. He is the man.
Well, but do you compared it in Argo? Do you think that it's a better movie, like straight out, or is it just the genre? Is it just
No, that has a
the
lot to do with
subject
it.
matter? I mean, because I like movies about shit like that. Like I know you do too. But is it really a better movie than Argo?
I don't know. Alan Alda,
Yeah.
and John Goodman.
Yeah.
Just
Now I love Argo too, but to me, The Town's a hair better. It's not like by a huge margin.
Agreed.
Argo
I'm
is
just-
a great movie. You know, Peter Jackson owns. This is completely random. The John Chambers, the guy who John Goodman plays, he owned the makeup kit he used when he would do makeup on CIA agents.
Really?
Yeah, he owns like all of John Chambers' like makeup stuff in his like museum that's in his house.
I think, and yeah, that is random. That's awesome. But I think, well, I've got it, because I'm a little ADD, I got to get it out. But I think The Town, if Ben Affleck would have done that and it would have been based in Philadelphia,
Right.
it wouldn't have been as good.
Right, no.
But because Ben Affleck is Boston and everything
Right.
about that town he knows, and the way he did everything, and the way everybody acted,
Right.
and the way, the tough as nails, that harsh.
Chris Cooper in the movie. It's his
Cooper.
dad. It's just amazing.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah.
And Pete Postlewhite, I think that was his last movie. The guy who played the Floors.
He was
He's
actually
awesome.
dying of cancer
Yeah.
while they were making that
Yeah.
film.
I love that guy.
Oh yeah, he comes in and he's like, "Hey, I ain't working for you."
Yeah.
It's just hard hitting. I
Yeah.
can watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
John Lamb, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. Probably the second best heist movie ever behind
Yeah.
Heat.
Right. Yeah.
And then another movie that I know you guys enjoy that I watched this morning, just while I was working, Seven.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah. It really is.
And the ending is the ending that it couldn't have been any better.
No.
It
No.
had to go down the way it did.
It had to go down. And I remember watching that film at the Crown Cinema in Hickory with my dad, and I remember my dad never really gets, you never really hear anything. I went and saw The Dark Knight with him, seen a lot of movies with my dad.
Right.
It's all, he's just a very stoic. If you know my dad, he's very stoic, and he's not really emotional.
Right.
He's not an emotional guy unless he's pissed.
Right.
Then he's always emotional. But I remember when John Doe was talking about it and said, "I took her pretty head." I remember hearing my dad, I'll never forget, go,
Yeah.
like for that 1 second, my dad was like, "Oh
Yeah, he
my
got
God."
him.
Like he got me. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this movie did they really just go there? Like,
Right.
because you'd never seen an ending like
No.
that where it
No.
was like, oh no,
Yeah.
you could see that one blonde hair, like,
Oh yeah.
blowing
And people
the
think
box.
you see inside the box. They think
Yeah.
you see Gwyneth Paltrow's head, and you don't.
You
They just
don't.
open the box. Yeah.
And
You
it
see a
was-
little couple of hairs.
Yeah,
and
but there's
You see
not-
the hair, like it's just blowing in the wind, like
Right.
it's amazing. And when Morgan Freeman goes, "California, get out of here!"
Yeah.
and that music starts. And
Yeah.
even like Brad Pitt's "What's in the box?"
Yeah.
"What's in the box?" is awful rendition that I continue to make fun of
Right.
as of today.
But that was the point where dudes started liking Brad Pitt movies. Because before that, it was like Legends of the Fall, Interview with a Vampire. Like when I was in like middle school and high school during that time, and he sucked. That guy fucking sucked.
because he was so good looking.
Exactly.
All the girls loved
But
him.
when Seven came out, people were like, "That dude's kind of like he's kind of
He's
the man."
Brad.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what was great, he got a lot of respect because it's Brad Pitt, but during that scene where he's chasing John Doe out of
Yeah.
the apartment,
Oh,
he
yeah.
actually went through.
Right.
There's that one shot where he's jumping
Yeah.
that car in the rain. He actually went through that windshield
And broke his hand. Yeah.
and cut his hand open. So they used that cast, like he finished the scenes
Yeah.
like this, and then they put the cast in and wrote it in after the fact
Right.
because he had busted himself up.
Have you-
I just thought that was cool.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
That he was just like, dude, no, we're finishing this,
And he insisted on, because they sent him he'd heard this was this amazing script and everything, and they sent him a rewritten draft that was rewritten by someone other than Andrew Kevin Walker, and it had like a scene where like the wife lives, and like he ends up killing John Doe in like a gunfight in his house and all this stuff, and he was just like, "This is not the script I was told." And they got Andrew Kevin to send him a first draft, and he was like, "No, this is the movie I want to make." And basically, him being a huge star is what got that movie made.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
that makes
that
makes sense.
Of course,
too.
nobody owns DVDs anymore. But if you have the DVD of the Blu-ray, there's a writer's commentary with Andrew Kevin Walker, and it's one of the best ones to ever listen to.
Oh, you talk about the old the
The 2-disc, the old fancy one.
Oh, I had that.
And
somebody
because he was hired
Sure.
to write a movie called Abusement Park about a killer roller coaster, and he thought to himself, if I write this movie, I'm going to kill myself. And he said, and he's like, maybe this low budget movie producer was like, I want you to write a movie. He's like, here's the title. It's called Abusement Park. Just make it about a killer roller coaster. And he was like, I can't do that. And he said, what if I give him something cooler? And so he basically, to get out of writing a terrible movie, he said, I'll make a movie about a killer who kills by using the 7 Deadly Sins as a. So basically, to get out of a shitty job, he wrote an amazing movie.
How about that?
Yeah.
It's a perfect
It really is.
fucking movie.
It really is.
Everything
in
about
every
it.
way.
Music,
The right
everything.
director, the right cinematographer, the actors.
It's perfect.
Everything
The
was just
dialogue is
everything
great.
was just in the right place.
And
at the
it
right time.
holds up.
It really does.
Oh, it
seen
does.
it. I've seen it in the last couple of years. It could have been made.
Yeah.
I don't know,
I
a month
always
ago. It's
smile.
perfect.
I watch it all the time, and
Yeah.
I always smile. That first initial tone where Mills comes up. And he's like, did anybody check? They're talking about the guy that dies in the spaghetti.
Right, the fact.
And he's like, did anybody check the vitals?
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, with all due respect, sir, like, this guy's been sitting at his home pissing shit.
Yeah.
If he was alive, he would have gotten up by now.
Yeah.
And I always smile at
Yeah.
that one. Like, that's great. Like, the whole film is
Yeah.
sharp as a tack.
Like when the pathologist comes in and holds the fat guy's head up, and he goes, "Oh, he's dead." And Mark Rivers goes, "Thank you, doctor."
Yeah,
And
thank you,
it just
doctor.
like he did. It was. That's just what he had to say.
Yeah.
You know.
And he said, Morgan Freeman, guy's amazing.
You know
in
who's
that
really
film.
good is Arlie Emery as the police captain.
Oh, yeah.
Like when
He
they're
answers the phone?
when he goes, "This isn't even my desk," it just hangs out the phone.
Shut up, Mills. That's great. It's great. Now, we're going to finish this up today, ladies and germs.
Yeah.
This guy has been, there's everything
Yeah.
about that film.
Oh, yeah.
And when Arlie Irby says, what's the problem? And Morgan Freeman says, guy got assaulted
Yeah.
and his wallet stolen.
Yeah.
And while he was sitting there helpless, they stabbed him in
his
his
eyes.
two eyes.
Yeah.
I don't understand this.
Yeah, he's
place.
like, I can't be here anymore.
yeah.
Which I feel when I watch the news, I feel that all the time.
Yeah.
Like there was a news story today about a couple got married and they rented a helicopter to lift them off away from their wedding ceremony, and as it lifted off the ground, it crashed and exploded and it killed them.
You're kidding.
And I was just like, I read that.
When is this?
It was in Texas like 2 days ago.
You're kidding.
No, I was just like, fuck everything.
Yeah,
And I was
that's-
just like,
Wow. Yeah. And it's well, maybe we should just get a metronome.
all right.
Since
There you go.
And go into a quiet room and turn on our metronome and
There
throw
we go.
daggers at the wall.
There we go.
And maybe we can, meditate that way.
Deal with it.
And be
Yeah.
more like Morgan Freeman.
There you go. Well, we could probably all stand to be more like Morgan Freeman.
Yes, we probably could.
Yeah.
We probably could.
One thing I was wanting to touch on was Raymond Chow died like 2 days ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Hong Kong movie producer had
Yeah.
178 producer credits.
178.
And 55 presented by Raymond had 55%, so really over 200 credits of films he made or helped make.
It was amazing.
And really, went from basically had the gut, like when Bruce Lee made his first movie, The Big Boss, he was the sidekick on the first day. And when Raymond Chow saw the footage, he was like, whoever the star of this movie is, fire that guy and put that guy as the lead. And because of that, really, when you think about that decision, like, if you look at how just Hong Kong action movies have influenced action movies for like the last 40 years, that decision is, it would have changed everything had he not done that.
I do
Because there's
not
no
doubt
Bruce Lee, there's no Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Golden Harvest Films doesn't become the biggest thing in Hong Kong. And you think about all the... if you just look at the movies from American movies that stole scenes from Hong Kong movies, like the beginning of Tango and Cash and other stuff, it's just, it would have changed everything. And he was the man, really. He really was.
He really was.
Yeah. And you don't really think of producers being creative, but he really, he probably was a really creative producer.
He made a lot of great films.
Oh, yeah. Yep, 91 years old. Not bad.
Wow, yeah.
Produced 200 movies.
200 movies, 90 years?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. I watched a lot of his films. Hong Kong and America Cinema has lost a
I didn't realize
huge icon.
he produced the live-action Ninja Turtles movies.
Did he really?
He was the only one who would give him money to
that's
make it.
right.
Yeah, it says, I never noticed it, but it says a Golden Harvest production. Like, he was the only one who would give him money to make those movies.
And he probably made some money.
Oh, I'm sure he
Those
did.
movies were terrible.
Right,
Especially when they used, what's her name? What's her name? What's the pretty girl that they used in the last couple of movies? She was in Jennifer's Body.
Oh, Megan Fox. Yeah.
Megan Fox.
Yeah.
I could do without it. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get into it. The Midnight Drive-In movie this week, Time Crimes.
It's a movie from 2007. It's a science fiction film made in Spain, directed by Nacho Vigalondo. I'll just say Vigalondo. And it is it's a, I guess you say it's a time travel thriller. It'd be the best way to explain it. It's a time loop film. You know,
You're going to ruin the movie.
I'm going to ruin the movie.
Hold that! Now just hold it!
This is a Midnight Drive-In spoiler alert. Details of this film are about to be exposed. If you have not seen this film and don't want leaks in your picture viewing experience, please skip to 39 minutes and 37 seconds. Thank you.
It starts out very basically, a guy's driving in his driveway, and his hatch of his car opens, and all the stuff he bought, like at a home improvement store, comes spilling out. And he brings it all in, shows it to his wife, and she starts putting together a table, and they're fixing up this new house. And he's just sitting out on his front lawn, like with some binoculars, and he happens to see something. He can't even really make it out, just something sort of moving in the bushes. And so he starts looking at it, and then he sees this beautiful naked woman. And as soon as his wife starts talking about getting some dinner, he sort of shoos her away, and she goes. And as soon as she leaves, he's investigating because he sees this gorgeous naked woman, and he goes into the woods. And this just sort of leads him down this rabbit trail of terrible decisions or inevitable decisions, depending on how you look at it. Because it really is. It only has four. It has 4 actors in it, but it has 7 characters, and 3 of them are the same guy. Because every time he gets in the time machine, he goes back in time. It creates another version of himself. So he's constantly trying to undo the terrible decisions he's doing by going back further in time on this one day. And his just stubbornness, his ineptitude, basically him just being a jackass leads him to this terrible inevitable conclusion where someone's going to die. How would you describe it?
I think that that was dead on.
Okay.
I think I'm a little bit ADD, so sometimes things kind of, it takes me a little while. But there was one part in the film where I was like, oh, dude, this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
Like, you just know, like, your brain is mush, but you know that it's just going to be cool.
Right.
I mean, what do you think, Doug?
Well, when you hear time travel, or at least I do, I immediately thought like sci-fi. Is nothing sci-fi about this movie. You said it's a thriller. It's almost like a mystery too,
right?
Because what's kind of happened up to a point, but it continues to give you details as the guy continues to go back in time. And I thought it was perfectly executed. It is what it is, and it was a cool ass movie.
And really, but here's the thing, do the things happen because he caused them to happen, or are they doomed to happen?
I guess that's the question.
That's time travel.
That's Nacho's question.
That's Nacho's. Exactly. That's the question of the movie.
I had to hit him up on Twitter and be like, yo, man, explain this, because I don't know.
Because when he sees the man in the bandage face, which is him, he's already gone back in time. And this is original Nacho. This is Hector 1, who is yet to go back. He already sees himself as the man in the bandage.
So how many times
has it already happened? Yeah. And, so we know he goes back in time at least 3 times. And, and maybe, I don't know.
So my only question,
right,
of course, being the snob, this guy lives at this house. They just moved there.
Yeah. It's under construction.
Yes. There's a time travel lab.
A physics lab
in his backyard.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right.
It looked like it was about a quarter-mile away.
Yeah. Let me give you one. I work at a data center, and there is no sign that says what that place is. Like, before I worked there, I drove past it dozens of times.
So there's no Facebook.
There's no Facebook sign that says it's a Facebook data center. And before I never once considered. I was like, hey, looks like a factory. I never investigated.
They could be doing time travel.
Exactly. Like, there's I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, there's people who live in the county I live. They probably don't even know that place is there. You know.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So I mean, really,
yeah.
when you think about buildings, you see a big cinder block building. You know, you don't invest. You don't know what it is really.
Oh, when I say, oh yeah, my buddy Lee works at Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing some of our social media for this show. They're like, wait, he works at Facebook? And I'm like, yeah, he works at Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, people what?
do that, really?
In Forest City?
Yeah, in
North
Rutherford
Carolina?
County, North Carolina, where the meth comes from. Like, yeah.
So it's funny because Doug said a couple of times during the film, there's some plot holes, but I think all those plot holes were really explained. Like
Well,
I think
outside of the fact that he just doesn't go home
Right.
yes,
from the beginning,
But that's an
once he
inaptitude.
goes into the woods and investigates kind of
Right.
what's going on, he decides to go in a different direction, and that's where all this kind of comes from. And some other kind of, as you're watching it, you're like, well, now, wait a minute, why didn't he do that? But I thought the director did a good job of kind of filling in most of
Yeah.
it. You know, as we were watching, we were questioning it, and then, you know, he was answering it as it kind of
The
went
script
along.
is like a snake that eats its own tail. It
Yeah.
never ends. You know, it's like
It's a
Until,
loop.
and,
Yeah.
you know, there were some questions at the beginning, and then again at the very end, you know,
Right.
kind of, you know, how does this end?
and also he just can't. He's not smart enough to understand what's going on. Like when he sees himself with his wife through the
Until
binoculars.
The third guy.
Till the third guy.
The third
The
guy,
third
he's
guy
like,
was
I know
the-
He
exactly
thinks
what
that's
I'm
a different guy. Like he doesn't understand that that's him. Like he's like, oh, what that other version of me? He's like, no. The guy's trying to explain to him, it's like you're looking in a mirror. That's still you in the mirror. You know, it's not. You know, and it's just like there's a thing where he tries to explain time travel to him by flipping over the calendar. When he first goes in there, it's already
Yes.
flipped over and been drawn on there. So he's already been there.
He's already been there. That,
You know.
that's funny because that was the moment.
Yeah.
When he does that and he explains to him, that was the moment in my slow brain that was like, "Oh, this is going to be."
Yeah.
I'm starting to get like, this is going to be.
I would love for them to
amazing.
release a script with all his notes on it. All his like director notes, like an annotated script of this.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because it would be amazing to see. Of course, you have to translate it in English, but
It's
'Cause it is a
great.
Spanish
What-
language
now,
film.
What other films has he done? You're big on this guy.
He's made.
I'll
This is the. I'll go ahead and take. This is the coolest movie he's ever made, and he says his next movie is going to be more in line with this, because all his other movies are more. His second movie is called Extraterrestrial, and basically it's just a relationship drama. This guy wakes up in an apartment, and he's obviously got drunk and got laid the night with some chick he doesn't know, and her boyfriend comes home, and then they go, and as they look out the window, there's a giant spaceship over the city. Like a giant, like almost Independence Day size spaceship. And so basically it's a relationship drama that happens on the day aliens show up. So really, it's kind of like this. The sci-fi aspect of it is very slight. You know, it's not like, it's not...
What it's all
Right. It just happens to be this. And that's kind of what he does. Like he's a genre director that's mostly sort of... He's more interested in like the dramatic and the comedic aspects of it than he is. His movie after that, he did a movie with... I've seen it and I don't love it. It's a really cool idea. It's called Open Windows. It's got Elijah Gray and Elijah from The Hobbit. Wood and Sasha Grey, the former adult film star. Elijah Wood is this guy. He's a big... Sasha Grey is this movie star. She's in this like sci-fi, like sort of Hunger Games type franchise. And he wins an internet prize to meet her. And he gets this link on his computer, like, would you like to see what she's doing now? And he opens it, and this like insane hacker guy has hacked into her computer and has basically kidnapped her. And Elijah Wood has to take his laptop with him while he's trying to save her. So most of the movie is on his laptop, where you see like the screen of Elijah Wood's camera, and you see what the hacker dude is doing. And it's probably a cooler idea than it is a movie, and it's okay. I mean, it's probably his weakest movie. And then he did that was his first English language movie. Then he did a movie 2 years ago with Anne Hathaway called Colossal. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was him.
That was him.
Yes.
That was his first big.
People funded that.
Yes.
That's like the first Kickstarter film.
And she is a fall down drunk.
Yes.
And when she was a kid, she got really upset and she ran like she did this school project when she was like 8, and she ran into the playground in town where she lives. And the outline of the playground is the exact same as the outline of the map of Seoul in South Korea. Almost said South Carolina. And but once she walks into the playground in Seoul, South Korea, this giant Godzilla type monster appears, and it is like the manifestation of her anger. And so it happened when she was a little kid. This monster showed up and destroyed some buildings, and then she ran out of the playground, and it just disappears. It's only there when she's there. It's like they're sort of psychically connected, this playground in Seoul, South Korea. And she comes back to her hometown after her boyfriend kicks her out because she's just a jobless drunk. And she ends up getting a job at like a local bar and stuff, and kind of rekindles her relationship with her childhood friend. And then you realize that it's more about her working through her emotional problems than it is just a straight monster movie. His movies are very weird. And then you realize that someone else in her life has another avatar that when that person stands in it, appears in South Korea. It's a giant robot. And so it's like I said, his movies are more sci-fi flavored than sci-fi genre. Right. They just have little bits of science fiction in them. And he says his next movie is going to be more serious, more like time crimes.
Well, this one's amazing just for the fact that he, like I said, there was 3 locations.
Yep.
4 actors.
Two vehicles.
Yeah, 2 vehicles.
And a bike. Well, 3 if you count the bike.
Yeah, and a golf cart.
So very little money spent. Only 4 costumes.
Yeah, 4 costumes.
Right.
And it was well done.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to see his continuity sheets.
Oh, I would too. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the script. Like I would like to see what he had written in the margins.
Do you think your son, with the exception of the naked lady, you think your son would have understood that movie?
He would have tried. He would have loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, he just...
Well, that's a movie that it rewards. A rewatch is... The second watch is almost better.
Oh, yeah, because you really catch...
Yeah. You'll catch all the details that you missed. Trying to follow the story. We know the story now. It's like...
Yeah.
I want to look at everything in every shot.
Yeah.
And look for him... the second or third version of him in the backgrounds of these different shots where you know that later on that he's watching himself. Right. I thought that was cool as hell. And Oliver would dig it. Anything time travel, he'd be all about it.
The River would be completely lost. He would have been done by 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is no real understanding because of the way that it ends. I don't know when that loop ends.
Yeah. And also, he's the first person who's ever time traveled. So they don't have any idea how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Like the guy tells them, like you see, when he goes in the lab at the beginning, you see like x-rays like lizards and rats. So obviously they've sent animals through time. But that's different than a person who can react to what's going on.
So where do you think the loop was?
I think basically at the beginning when the back hatch of his car comes up, when he was at the home improvement store, had he made sure it was shut, then he would have gotten there and he would not have seen himself through the binoculars. But at the same time, he says to the scientist guy who's played by the director, why did you have to turn the machine on? Because if the machine hadn't been turned on, he wouldn't have come through the... But then again, he had to have for him to... It's kind of... Yeah.
It's
a loop.
All on a loop. And it's impossible.
It's infinity.
There's no way to really start it. It could have started that morning and it could have started just whenever the guy woke up or whatever, Right. But it was cool.
Very smart film.
Yeah.
Very intelligent. I hate that Mark wasn't here. I think Mark would have really
And they've been trying to remake it since it came out. Like the one David Cronenberg was going to direct it. Then Steve Zalian, the screenwriter,
who did Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. He was going to write it, and then he was going to write and direct it, and Tom Cruise was going to be in it. And then that fell apart. It's one of those movies like, Hollywood can smell that it's cool, but they don't know why. Like it's like they want to try to replicate it, but
I'm afraid that somebody else would ruin it.
Right, exactly. That's why. And also, it has just
too much or whatever overacted. To me, it was perfect.
Yeah,
it was perfect. The guys that were in it, I hated Hector.
Oh, Hector sucks.
Hector fucking sucked, but he was perfect as Hector.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But also, it has in all the Spanish the genre films from Spain I've watched, they just have this sort of feeling to them.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you ever saw the Record films. They were remade as Quarantine in America and all. It's all like found footage.
Right. Yeah.
They just have this like feeling to them that you only get out of movies from Spain. And like you said, I don't know if that would transfer over in an English language movie, especially with Tom Cruise. This guy's
I don't trust modern Hollywood.
He's kind of a.
No, it would have been too big. I think it would have been too big.
Yeah,
they would have made it too big.
Right.
Yeah, what it is what it needed to be.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't need to focus on the actual time travel.
Yeah.
It's the effect of what this guy's
The bike
doing.
would have been a motorcycle.
Right.
The golf cart would have been a Ranger.
Right.
The
van would have been
silo would have been a freaking kingdom.
Right.
Like a glass house or
yeah.
whatever.
Bandage would have been more bloody and bigger. Like everything would have been. It would have been over exaggerated.
Right.
And it would kind of like. Oh, and I can't think of the name. Maybe you can. Vanilla Sky, another Spanish film that was copied from Open Your Eyes.
Right.
Remade
by a great director, Cameron Crowe, but he just should not have made that movie.
He shouldn't have made that movie.
Yeah.
What they did was that was a Spanish film with Penelope Cruz in it, in the Spanish version, and it was great.
Yeah.
And then Hollywood
That's
says,
a terrible movie.
Let's redo that.
Yeah.
And with the exception of the soundtrack, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And it was a terrible remake, and it was Hollywood.
Oh, it's a. I watched it once. I was like, oh, this is atrocious.
It really is.
It's got some great scenes.
It does have great scenes in it.
I mean, it's terrible. I'll give you that, but it's got some killer scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene, like Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz in the cars.
Yeah, she's great.
Losing it, like.
When they hit that, when she hits she drops that car right off the bridge.
You know, we're talking about the money, and like, a low budget movie sometimes being better than a huge movie. The second film in the Record series, it all takes place in this building that's quarantined with this like zombie type virus. But the second one is all the lipstick cameras on the side of SWAT team guys' helmets. That's what it's all shot through. So it's basically a first person shooter movie.
Right.
Which, if you remember the Doom movie with The Rock, was not that great. It had some cool monsters in it.
Right.
But whereas, these guys in Spain with like $2 million are able to make a first person shooter movie. It's really awesome. Whereas if you tried to remake Record 2 in America, it would be this giant monstrosity.
And you said it was like Quarantine.
Yeah, Quarantine is the American remake of Record, R-E-C.
Okay.
The title is the Record button.
I do remember. I know I've
seen
it.
So we should do that movie, because I haven't seen that movie.
Right.
But I know
Which
what you're
one?
talking about, the REC,
Yeah.
Record.
Okay. And the second one is my favorite.
Well, it's like Hollywood trying to remake Ram and Chow movies.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's Hollywood.
I kind of have a hard time watching those kind of movies. The first, like
the first one is but the second one
so shaky. And eventually, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to.
I completely agree with it. But the second one, because it's through the cameras on the side of the helmet, it is like it's like you're watching a video
game. Yeah.
I used to have no problems with that. I just went to
hour and 15
Carowinds.
minutes at max. Any more than that, I'm going to be fucking pissed. I mean, I remember that Quarantine movie.
Yeah.
It is all handheld.
But that's the thing; it's shot for shot the Spanish movie.
Yeah,
but it just feels different.
It does. It
really does.
Careful.
Like but the remake is like, you could say, like, some people like, oh, they changed too much. They literally don't change anything in Quarantine, but it just doesn't feel the same as the Spanish version. I don't know why.
A cool idea.
Yeah,
I just couldn't.
Oh yeah, I'm the same. Like with 3D movies.
Yeah,
I'm about an hour worth of 3D.
I can't even do it at all.
Yeah,
yeah. I just went to Carowinds and rode a roller coaster, and I was sick as a dog.
Right.
And I think it's just my age. I get to the point now where anything that's
can't shake me around.
Anything that's all over, like Blair Witch Project. Right. Like I would probably have a seizure when they're running through the woods.
Never even
like I watched during October. I have the 3D Blu-ray. It's the best 3D Blu-ray on. It's the Vincent Price House of Wax. And I got about halfway through it, and I just switched it to 2D.
Yeah,
I just
because you just can't.
But it looks amazing.
River's the same way. We go to 3D movies, and halfway through, he's like, "Dad," like he takes the.
My eyes. It's like my eyes feel tired. They don't hurt. They just
Yeah. Well, that's another great film. We're on a roll.
Yeah.
The exception of Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
See, I liked our first podcast that nobody listened to was the Kill List.
Right.
Mark will tell you it was terrible. I actually liked it.
Did he give it like a 6.5 or something, or 7?
Yeah, something.
He said the other day it was one of the worst movies he'd ever seen.
He also said that about Magnolia.
What a fucker.
Yeah.
I know.
But I almost want to go back and listen to see what score he gave it.
Yeah, well, but we've been on a roll, man. We haven't had, besides the Prince of Darkness, we haven't had any really bad weeks. Well, we did do Devil's Rejects, but
you knew that you were going to hate it.
We knew we were going to hate that because we had all seen it, and we did that for March.
Speaking of, and I know we're off the horror genre, but I wanted to bring this up.
No horror, nope, forget it. You just have to save that for another
It's
day.
not a movie.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
There's an AMC Eli Roth show.
The documentary series.
Have you watched any?
No,
of it?
I haven't.
I haven't either. I was curious if you'd seen any of it.
Yeah.
It looks killer.
The interview list looks amazing.
Well, the second episode, it's him and Rob Zombie, and
Well, that's funny because, Eli Roth, he...
Make shit. I know.
About 6 months ago, he called me and he says, hey, I hear you're going to do this podcast
Yeah.
about horror films and all these cool movies. And I said, yeah, man, I'm going to do it. And he's like, are you going to do video? And I was like, well, no, I don't have the money for the video yet. We're going to start off small and do the radio. He's like, that's a pretty good idea.
What an asshole.
Yeah, kind of like my Grosse Point Blank that was completely stolen from me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to tell that story real fast. I'm going to tell my story. When I was in film school out in Los Angeles, I wrote a script about a hitman that comes home to his hometown, falls in love with his high school sweetheart, and the chaos from Los Angeles ensues and comes when he decides to get out of the game. It comes to haunt him.
Right.
It was great.
Right.
So I go to a final draft conference convention where they bring in all these guys from the studios and they do pitch lists. Right. So I do this whole seminar. Spent like $400 of my college fund to do this weekend long final draft convention.
Right.
All these speakers come. It was great.
Yeah.
Guy that wrote Batman and Robin, Akira Goldsmith.
Yeah.
Was the keynote speaker.
Right.
Everything was great. So I go up to a guy. There's a guy from Miramax, and I'll never remember his name, and I wish I could remember his name. And I pitched him.
Yeah.
I pitched him that.
Right.
It was great.
How'd that go?
It went pretty good because it came out Grosse Point Blank about a hitman who left, he came back to Boston with Minnie Driver, his high school sweetheart, and then Dan Aykroyd, his boss, that couldn't take him getting out of it.
Right.
And came back. Now, speculation is they probably already had that.
Right.
But I can always have that moment saying, you know what, I pitched Miramax that before that movie came out.
Yeah.
They effing stole it,
Right.
man. That was my concept.
Yeah, I have a documentary called Tales from the Script, and it's really cool. And the guy who wrote, what was the movie that came out before Armageddon? Deep Impact.
Yeah.
He said he was having lunch with a guy who did the exact same thing, and he had a friend there, and he had known the friend was a Disney executive. He said, I would have kept my mouth shut, but I'm just explaining this thing about Deep Impact and all this stuff. And he's like, what comes out like a month after my movie? A movie called Armageddon. And he's like, I can't prove it, but it pretty much had the same Bruce something.
He can't prove it.
He can't prove it.
He doesn't have any kind of...
No, but that guy was the producer of Armageddon.
That's great, and that's crazy. And it happens, man. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's why everybody says. After that, even my crappy films that I know, like the horror movie I talked about, I sent one to the WGA. Because
you get that certificate back.
You're going to talk to somebody, and the next thing you know, they're going to steal it. Steal it.
Yeah.
Just like Hollywood steals all the good Spanish movies, and they tried to steal time crimes, but did not
What's
succeed.
weird is if they made it, what they would pay Tom Cruise to be in it would be more than the movie costs. Would be more
absolutely.
than that's
One thing that I don't like is the fucking name.
Right.
The name turns me off. And when I showed up and it's like, we're watching Tom Crimes, I was like, oh, that's going to be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Right.
A different name, I think it flies.
Right.
You know?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But what would you call it?
It looks like Friday the 13th.
It really does.
The Spanish version.
Yeah, it
looks
really does.
like Jason, the new remake, the Michael Bay remake.
Yeah.
A day in the life of, something like
That does not make me want to watch. I would rather watch Tom Cruise.
But Tom
than A Day in the
Crimes,
Life of Hector. Right.
Head bandage and scissors.
Yeah.
No?
I don't fucking know. I don't come up with the names. I'm just telling you.
Right.
I don't like the way that one
Yeah.
rolls off my brain.
But also it's
now listen.
Yeah.
That's not the name of it though. That's the
English.
That's the English translation
translation
Yeah.
of
No,
whatever
so
Tom Crime would be.
Yeah.
Right, but
Spanish.
it might be something completely.
Right.
It may sound and roll off your tongue.
That's true.
El Timo.
Yeah, El Timo.
de
Oh,
Criminalios. I don't
Yeah.
know. I took French
Yeah.
and Latin. No Spanish.
obviously.
So I would give Time Crimes actually, speaking of though, Tom Cruise's trailer would probably cost probably be twice as big as the silo that they use.
Oh yeah, for sure.
in this.
Got to have all his Scientology minions in there.
Yeah, all that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Glad they didn't remake that movie. It's Time Crimes from Spanish director
Nacho Villalondo.
And you should definitely check it out. Even if you listen to all these spoilers and you kind of know what's going on.
When you see it, it still will matter.
You'll still be lost, and it'll still make your brain mush.
But it'll make sense at the end, like it did for us. I think.
Okay.
Cool movie.
Very cool movie.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies, we're gonna go to something I saw that came out a couple days ago. It's very fresh and it's getting passed around the internet. It's True Detective Season 3.
There we go.
I'm really excited. It's got Mahershala Allah and Stephen Dorff as the detectives.
Right.
It takes place in Arkansas, the Ozarks. It's about and it has it. They don't really give much away, the teaser, but it looks like he's searching throughout his whole life, kind of like the first season, trying to solve 2 children going missing. I mean, Nick Pizzolatto is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's funny because Doug and I completely disagree. I enjoyed season 2. Even though you hated it, I think the reason that a lot of people hated season 2 was because season 1 was so incredibly good that the second one would never follow up, and I don't think this one will either. I think that this one will be better than 2.
Well, he's been given a little bit more time.
Absolutely. They gave him a 4-year hiatus.
So I've got all the faith in the world in him.
You think it'll be fantastic?
Will it be as good as season 1? Nothing ever will. To me, that might be the single best thing I've ever seen.
I think I
TV
agree.
show, movie,
I
just
agree.
whatever. It was that well done. It's perfect.
I agree. In fact, I think it may actually. Game of Thrones is a very close second, but I think that True Detective Season 1
is
and Game of Thrones Season 3, the one with the red wedding,
right,
may be the 2 best seasons of any TV ever.
The second season of it, look, there's parts of it that are fun, but just all in all, and I've gone back and watched it twice because I wanted to make sure that I didn't just watch it and judge it and forget about it. It's just not... It's not good, and Nick will tell you that. Look, I was completely rushed, and I threw this together.
Absolutely,
and that's why I have all the faith in the world that this season 3 will be something amazing.
And also, he had years to work on the first season.
That's right. Yeah, it's like the first Hootie and the Blowfish album, the only one that was any good. You know, they had done.
That's a weird comparison. I'm not gonna lie.
That's weird as.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Did they have a second album?
I don't think they did, but I was saying, remember, it went platinum. I don't know why. I just thought, why? What?
I don't know, dude.
That was weird.
Cut. This is what am I? What's happening? I think I just went through a time loop.
Is that you? God damn!
That's the first thing that came off my brain.
Wow.
Well, you're right. He had definitely marinated that first one.
Oh yeah.
And then he had
over years.
Yeah, you can tell.
And McConaughey and Harrelson, when they came on,
just couldn't have
helped
been
that out.
better.
So
Right.
then it was so good and successful, like you said, HBO said,
We gotta have it.
Season 2, and you know, so he's just thrown into this thing.
Right.
I still enjoyed it. Vince
Isn't the
Vaughn
second
was
season about
fantastic.
railroad construction?
Yeah, it was about construction, yes. And Vince Vaughn was a realtor, and he'd sunk all his money into
Right.
into.
See, I'm not seeing the second season. I watched the first season
It's good.
3 times.
I enjoyed it. Rachel McAdams is fantastic, and so was Colin Farrell. He was such a depressing. They're
he was
just
good.
It's a very depressing, very monotone. It takes place in Los Angeles.
And also, the first season was only directed by one guy, which the second season I think was directed by 3 or 4.
Yeah,
guys.
that's and I think consistency in TV is. I think a same director on shows like that, it makes all the difference.
One of my favorite shows the last few years is called Hap and Leonard, and it's based on a series of novels. And the first season is directed by one filmmaker, and the second it's basically that's what they did. Like each one gets a filmmaker. There were only 3 seasons, and it actually takes place on the other side, whereas the first season was in Louisiana. It basically takes place on the other side in Texas. You know, in the early '80s, it's just 2 guys who are kind of losers who are sort of unofficial private detectives. You know, I like the book series a lot too. But yeah, it's written by Joe Lansdale, the guy who wrote Bubba Hotep, the novel Bubba Hotep. It's his detective novel series, and very violent, you know. But it's a more I won't say comedic, but it's a lighter tone True Detective, but similar sort of worlds. Like the first season is sort of a treasure hunt. This guy robbed a bank in the 60s and left the money there. And the second season is about a serial killer who murders children and only leaves their shoes as sort of calling cards. And the third season is just about basically a town controlled by the Klan in like southern Louisiana. Yeah.
Okay.
Michael K. Williams from the Wire. He plays one of the main characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but really cool show.
Now, what show is that?
It's called Happen Leonard. It was on Sundance Channel. It's only got 3 seasons.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one of those channels nobody watches.
But it says all those are the channels that have everything good.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I have all faith in it. I think it's going to be great. Again, I like 2. It wasn't near as good as 1.
The trailer was really good for season 3.
Yeah.
Season 2 was just. It's like he says there just was no story. There's no story.
It wasn't as in depth. Like
Yeah.
that first season, they set that thing up with a naked woman tied to a rock with deer antlers on.
Ritual, realistic.
And McConaughey is sitting there in his little sketchbook drawing this stuff out, calling the tax man. Like how you set the tone.
Yeah.
The second one shows a guy getting a dead man driving in the back of the truck, and Colin Farrell gets drunk and beats up. Goes and beats up the dad of a kid that's bullying his kid at school. There's no different. It's completely different.
And he's great in that, like we talked about. And like I said, there are parts of that are great. It just, like a lot of movies, it's got some great parts to it, but just for whatever reason, you're unable to kind of put it together. And it just ended weird.
Well, I think Colin Farrell dying was probably, and Vince Vaughn dying, the boys dying.
Well, everybody died except for McAdams in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. And then the wives. The wives. Remember,
Right.
they all carry on.
Right. I guess.
Yeah.
That's how memorable it was.
There you go.
And I watched it twice. And
Yeah, you watched it twice.
Yeah.
See, I'm terrible at keeping up with TV shows. I'll bail out of a show with a long commercial break and just never go back.
Depends on it.
Yeah.
I've gotten worse as
Yeah.
I've gotten
I've
older.
gotten much worse.
Once I got burned by Lost, I kind of have said fuck TV. I haven't finished a series since.
Yeah.
I haven't. I watched 3. Believe it or not, I've only seen 3 Walking Dead episodes ever.
You've got it. It's, I don't love it. I know it's a big. I know people
what's
love it.
disappointing is the. So, I'm big. I'm very big with my TV seasons.
Yeah.
I can only watch one season at a time. I
Right.
can't do Game of Thrones and then
I got you.
True Blood or Eastbound and Down. It's got to be all Eastbound and Down or done. Whatever.
Right.
So I watched Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Loved it. Thought it was great. Took me back to my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. So then, but then I stepped away and I did Game of Thrones, and then did True Blood.
Yeah.
My kids watched season 2, Stranger Things, and I had to spend months keeping them from spoiling it.
Right.
I tell you what, I am 4 episodes in, and I'm having a hard time even finishing.
Yeah.
Have you seen?
Oh, yeah, I've seen season 2, yeah. It's not as good as the first season, but like I said, I think that was something the Duffler brothers thought about for a really long time. It's good. Get to the end of it, it's good.
So keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Stick it out.
I'm one of those that, it took me back. It's like 85, I was 10, the kids are 10, and I can put myself in their shoes and remember everything. I didn't love the first season. I thought it was okay. I
like it because the guys are from Durham.
Yeah.
The concept
North
of
Carolina
it
boys.
and the way it looks and the way the feel of it, as we like to say, and the paying homage to all these great movies and things from the 80s.
It's nostalgia porn.
Right. It's fine.
It is.
But
You're
I
right.
just didn't
And I
think
love
it was
and
that.
And maybe that's why I don't like it.
I just didn't think it was that great. In fact, I actually enjoyed the second season more because it is a bit darker.
Oh, yeah.
It does start a little slower than the first, but like Lee says, you need to get to the end of it. But I still don't think it was great.
One more thing about Walking Dead is there's a Korean movie called Train to Busan. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay. Watch that instead of The Walking Dead. It's a Korean movie. It's a zombie movie that takes place on a bullet train in South Korea. There's humans on one side of the train. At the end, there's humans, and there's zombies in the middle. And it's going, I don't know how fast a bullet train goes, 200 miles an hour?
Fast.
Yeah. So, what's
the name of this?
Train to Busan.
Train to Busan. It's on
Netflix.
I watched it on Netflix
Yeah.
a couple months back.
Yeah.
It's nothing great,
but it's
fun.
It's not 45 minutes of scruffy looking white people whispering with 5 minutes of zombies action in every episode. I guarantee you that.
Right.
For 10 years.
So yeah,
That's my opinion. I love zombie stuff. It's just
the main guy. They just killed the main guy off, and I'm like, huh.
Well, they've just gotten away from what it was.
Yeah.
When I first saw
had
it,
Frank Darabont stayed on as the showrunner,
it would have
been completely different.
Yeah.
He's still that thing
Oh, yeah.
is still going on.
Oh yeah.
That long.
It'll
Yeah.
And
continue
it
to
sucks
go on
because
to.
you know what?
It's stopping him from making movies.
I was getting ready to say it's ruined his career, and he was fantastic. There's nothing better than the
Dude, the
Mile,
Shawshank, and I love The Mist.
The Mist is killer.
The Mist
That's
is
what I was
great.
Even the Majestic was good. It was his weakest.
It is weak, but it's very
still a
savvy.
cool movie.
Yeah, it's a cool movie.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's ruined.
It really
It's ruined
has.
his career.
I mean,
it's
He hasn't
ruined.
made a thing since. He did that TV show on TNT, Gangster City, something like that, about crime in like the 40s. He got canceled. But that's the only thing he's done since.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, The Mist is a killer.
Oh, I love The Mist.
Yeah, The Mist.
Have you seen it in black and white?
Uh-uh.
Oh, dude, the black and white version.
And I haven't
so
watched.
Great.
Did you see any of the? I think there was a TV show.
I heard it didn't have
recent.
monsters in it.
I don't know anything about it.
I read it's not really have that many monsters in it. I'm like, oh, it's a monster show without monsters? Hey, go fuck
I'm
yourself.
good.
It's got they're like bugs. They're like the size of bees. They're like
Yeah.
bugs. So I was
Okay.
like,
Nah.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to take this really big thing and make a shitty version of it.
Yeah, no.
all right. Well, you got us a DVD
I
this
do.
week.
I do. It's a brand new movie, directed by a guy, also another director, filmmaker from North Carolina. It's called American Animals.
American Animals.
And it is, when we were talking about Heat and The Town, it is the opposite of that. It's based on a true story. This, have you seen it?
I think I've seen the trailer for it.
Okay, these guys, 2003, 2003, 2004, I can't remember. In Kentucky, the University, Transylvania University up in Kentucky. They have one of the most exquisite art libraries in the world. They have a book there. This guy, like the 1830s or whatever, struck out in the in the West, and he was going to paint a painting of every bird in America. If he saw a bird he'd never seen before, he was going to follow it until he painted a giant painting. He then took those original paintings and put it in a book. So all those guys' paintings are in one book. And in 2003, it was worth roughly $12 million. Because it's a book there are no copies of, And it's half the size of this table. They're like, frame size paintings in them, 50 of them in a book. And these guys like, well, I wonder if we could sell that if we stole it. Because it's in a locked, like you have to basically get badged into that section of the library to get to it. And it's encased in glass.
But it is at a student library.
Yeah, it's in a student library.
And these guys are in school.
Yeah, they're 18 years old, and when you're 18, you thought you could do anything. You thought you were indestructible. Imagine being a college athlete and having that feeling. And these guys, they think they're in the fucking town. They think, they're Bobby D in Heat, and they're going to steal this book and sell it on the black market. And the actual people are in the movie. Like when they talk about it, it'll cut to the actual guys, and it'll cut to them being interviewed. Then one of them will say, and I said, and it cuts back to the movie.
Oh, so it's the old.
Yeah, it's like a documentary and a movie at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's a first time filmmaker, and shot around and some in Kentucky, some in North Carolina, some in Kentucky. Stars Evan. He's on American Horror Story.
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters, he's the main guy. He's sort of the jock dude who masterminded the whole thing. He's a fucking douchebag.
He's great.
He's great. He's so hateable in this movie. And you see the real guy who he's playing, and that guy he just oozes douchiness.
American Animals.
American Animal. It's not a movie I think you'll probably want to watch a bunch of times, maybe twice to get look at all the technical stuff, but it was really well done.
Cool.
I'll be like the young lady who directed Revenge, and 10 years ago when I saw this, like Nacho, after I saw it, I will watch this guy's next movie, sight unseen. Yeah.
So
Which I love that feeling.
Is it on Netflix?
I rented it. I rented a physical copy because I actually still go to a video store. Because apparently I live in 1998.
No, you just live in Shelby.
I live in Forest City.
You live in Forest City
Yeah.
where they actually have.
Yeah, they have a family video.
Yeah,
that is packed constantly.
Doug's wife works at Family Video.
Nice.
And brings home junk.
But hey, but can always bring that stuff home.
Yeah. I need to. I wasn't sure if that was out yet.
Yeah, it's. I rented it. Yeah, 2-3 days ago.
That'll be one that I'll definitely want to
I
get.
really enjoyed.
We'll check that out.
I saw the trailer and I was like, "Oh, that." Looks
Yeah, it's very
cool
slick.
as shit.
It's slickly done, but it's not like the slickness isn't distracting. Where it's like you're like, oh, this is supposed to be
still at
cool.
the heart of it.
Yeah, the story's at the heart, and it's just like at one point. The actual True Life guy is in the shot, like he's talking to Evan Peters as himself. He's like, "Did you say that or did you say this?" He's like, "I said this." Then it cuts to him, Evan Peters saying it. So it's like it's a documentary and a movie at the same time.
So this guy, did he go and do these interviews to make this movie, or did
I think so.
use these interviews and build the movie around?
I wonder that myself. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I really enjoyed it.
Now I want to go. I want to go watch this tonight.
Well, they probably have it at your local family video.
Yeah.
Right
Hey, I got to go to Hickory today.
Hey, there
so
you go.
I
There
have
you
to
go.
swing by there.
Yeah. And I had an interesting thing happen to me. I told you about it earlier. I was standing in family video last night. I was returning American Animals, and I'm just walking, and this giant dude, like he had to be 6'6", 6'7", shaved head, big goatee. He goes, "Hey man, you like weird movies?" And I don't even have a chance to answer. He goes, "You should watch this movie," and he's pointing at Mandy, which there's like 7 copies of.
Really? There's 7 copies?
Yeah, there was tons of copies of it. And he's like, "You should watch this movie. It's fucking crazy." He's like, "This is the best thing Nick Cage has been in a year since he was a superstar." He said, "I loved it." And he just walked away. You know, he just wanted, and I love that feeling. He saw that movie and loved it and wanted to tell somebody about it, because I felt that way. Like the first time, like 10 years ago when I first saw Time Crimes, I'm sure I went and wrote one of my friends, "Go watch this movie," you know.
And they're like, "Dude, Time Crimes? It sounds stupid."
It
What's
is
up
like-
with that? What's up with Jason on the front?
Just like people would be if you handed them Mandy sight unseen. They're like, "Is that Nicolas Cage covered in blood holding a chainsaw?" I'm like, I'm not watching this movie, you know. But yeah, I love that dude was so enthused about it that he just had to tell me about it. And he probably saw me, you know, big guy, beard, you know. He's like that guy will like Mandy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's my ex-wife's name, so it's hard for me to go and tell people, "Dude, I loved Mandy." Like, it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
My wife, I said, "What?" She said, "What'd you guys watch tonight?" "Mandy." "What?" No, Mandy. The name's the movie. Stop saying that. What?
Yeah. You can't change the title of the movie.
Oh, it's the new Nick Cage film. You got to see that. You got to see that. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool that he saw that.
Yeah.
Did you tell him your favorite part?
No.
When Linus exposes his penis.
Well, I had it put on a T-shirt and I was wearing that, so I assume he knew.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, speaking of nudity and people exposing things, I got a bathwater showdown. I forgot to do it last week, but I really, really want to get into these bathwater showdowns because...
You really want women to hate this
No,
show.
I don't want women. No, that's the thing. That's the opposite. It's a bunch of dudes here.
Right.
A bunch of dudes, and we don't have any women. We don't have any women say so here.
Right.
Unless we can find a woman that would actually spend 2 hours sitting in here with us, which is...
Well, that's what women want to do. They want to spend 2 hours in a cinder block room with 4 dudes they don't know.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So we're going to post this up. This is going to be a Facebook poll. But my bathwater showdown this week is Sharon Stone as Ginger in Casino versus Margot Robbie as Naomi in The Wolf of Wall Street. Which performance was better and who was hotter in that performance?
Okay, I'll tell you. Margot Robbie was hotter. Sharon Stone was better.
Okay.
Sharon Stone is better than De Niro is in Casino.
Oh,
she
Sharon
is
Stone
so...
was-
And that's the thing. I don't think she's that good of an actress. But whatever she tapped
was in
into
that.
in Casino, she was amazing.
Oh, and
I
she is-
hate her so much in that movie. Like in the last hour, she's the worst. But she's so great.
What was the most amazing part besides her performance?
Yeah.
Most amazing part was how the makeup, how they progressively made. Like at the beginning when he first met her, she was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Robbie Richardson had that lighting on
the
her.
fur coat.
And at the end, she's this big around, and her face
has that hateful middle-aged woman mom haircut. The I want to speak to your manager haircut. Oh yeah, she looks horrendous.
But as far as Margot Robbie's concerned, no, Margot wasn't on drugs, but she was a bigger douche because she was in it for the money. And as soon as he was,
and I will say, her being Australian and pulling off that Long Island accent, she was great. I'm not saying she wasn't good in Wolf of Wall Street. That being her first big movie, first American movie, certainly, she was amazing.
Well,
And,
it's funny because a lot of people say that that movie was the real Naomi, which I can't remember her name. It's not Naomi, but
yeah.
A lot of people say that she was actually really a good woman, but he had done so much
Right, and that could
bad to her
right.
that at the end,
George Belfort's...
By the time he was getting in trouble,
yeah.
she was just done.
Right.
Because he had done so much stupid stuff.
Jordan Belfort's a piece of human garbage. That's...
And he's still making money.
Oh, yeah.
Off telling people how to sell stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And people are still giving him meetings.
Yeah.
Because they want to know that this guy could sell this penny stock and take and screw all these people over.
Right.
I want to know how he does it.
I want to fuck people over too.
You know his cellmate. You know his cellmate was Tommy Chong when he was in prison.
Really?
When Tommy Chong got busted in the early 2000s for selling bongs, yeah, he was the one. Tommy Chong said he was the one told him to write the book. He's like, man, you should write that shit down. Yeah,
Chong bongs.
Yeah,
yep, I remember that.
And now he's still a millionaire. Well, he's still paying all those people back.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's still got more money than I'll ever have.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. Do you imagine just getting I think we talked about this, just living a week like that guy did?
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you live with yourself?
I don't know. I couldn't.
Oh, no, I couldn't either.
Yeah, I'd have eaten a bullet by now.
Oh, yeah. No, I buy a couple of freaking magic cards on my credit card, and I'm guilty. I feel guilty that my wife's going to cut my penis off.
Right. Yeah.
$20 for comic books. Could I do that? Should I do that?
Yeah.
Should I do that?
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that. So I couldn't imagine stealing people's money.
Exactly.
So there you go. There's the poll. Who is overall the Bathwater Challenge? Sharon Stone as Ginger in Casino, or Margot Robbie as Naomi in Wolf of Wall Street. Let us know on our Facebook page. Anything else, gentlemen?
Nope.
Another great show, another great movie. I usually introduce us. We are missing Mark. Mark is on vacation with his wife in Asheville. Him and I are going to be checking out Old Man with the Gun in Hickory at the Carolina Foot Candle Society on Wednesday. We will do a little piece that will follow this. And we will have him back very soon to screen movies like Happiness and Ichi the Killer and
Duel.
And we'll get to. Well, see,
Mark wants to watch Duel so bad.
So here's my problem, and maybe we can get some input from our listeners. But we made this podcast to watch obscure films that nobody's heard of that are really good or really bad, but films like Time Crimes that guys
I've never seen or heard of, and I'm glad that I did.
And Mandy, with the exception of exceptions, we'll change it up and do like Mandy or Black Klansman, which was a
newer movie,
a newer movie, but wasn't as popular, didn't go into the theaters. It's not the next Tom Cruise movie.
Right.
I feel like Duel. Is a Steven Spielberg film.
But it was a TV movie. It was his first movie. A lot of people haven't seen it. I think it still could work.
I think it would. And people probably watched it at the drive-in. But that's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, so, we had said on last week's show, we're going to watch this Joaquin Phoenix film. Okay, that's great. And it is. It's a independent art house film. However, it's kind of mainstream and it's kind of new. So I pulled it from the schedule because I'm like, that's not what we're about. It's not what we're doing. We're going to do Time Crimes, and we have been actually trying to find a copy of Vice Squad, and if we can do that.
Early 80s.
If anybody knows where we can find a copy of Vice Squad, let me know. On Amazon, they are like $200 a copy, so we're going to try to scoop one up and do it in the next couple of weeks if we can find it. Well, that's it for this show. I appreciate you guys coming out.
Appreciate you having us.
We'll see you next week. And until then, keep watching the films.
Garrick loves Hootie and the Blowfish.
And you like Linus for Shakes, posting his...
Brought to you by Golden Ticket Cinemas. $5 movies Monday through Friday. Ticket sales and times at gtccinemas.com. Looking for that hard-to-find collectible? Look no further. The Spot will find it for you. Located in Newton, North Carolina, but worldwide on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Spot Toys. And finally, preserve your company's legacy in HD. Contact Unique Philosophy and Roadhouse Pictures for all your marketing and video needs. Check them out at uniquephilosophy.com or call 828-485-7435. Their marketing is effective and efficient. They produce, engineer, and cut our shows, and we are grateful for them. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram or Twitter for all the latest news. And if you love the show, help us keep it going. Become a Patreon today. Thanks to all our sponsors for contributing to our show.